comfort of a studio and I don't have to look at faces when I talk to Hobart, so the nerves are fluttering. But it's amazing to see so many faces here today in support of a cause that we're all so unbelievably passionate about. So I grew up on the scrub about 20 minutes west of Newell. I went to a Christian school, and for the most part, throughout my younger years and teenage years, I never heard that being gay was normal. I never heard it in a positive light, which obviously made my feelings and all these thoughts running through my mind. I felt like they were wrong, or I was in denial. I was so confused. So I had the idea that with having such a blokey dad that I do, that I had to be the same as him with, girlfriends when I was young, that he was always mentioning it. And I thought that's what the type of typical man was, the ideal man was that I had to be. And so pushing these feelings away for years, it was so confusing. But at the end of 2013, I finally discovered who I was and accepted who I was. Within the coming months, came out to close friends who were amazing, and it made me realise that it really wasn't that big a deal. And then came the tricky part, coming out to the family. My sister was great. Dad cried, gave me a big hug, and then said, "Oh, I'm never going to get any grandkids." But I mean, Dad, you can get some grandkids, it's all right. Mum was a little bit harder to convince, but she's come around now, she's amazing. But how did Nan react?
How do things work in the bedroom?
It's fair to say it's still hard to convince her that I was born this way. I've been to my sister's and my cousin's wedding, and celebrating the love of two people is such an amazing thing. It's when your family and friends can get together, laugh, have a good time in celebration of two people who are so in love and want to spend the rest of their lives together. Not only do I feel like I'm missing out on celebrating that love that I have with my partner, but my family is also missing out. I want to be able to share that love with my family just like a straight couple can when they're married. Because my love for my partner is exactly the same as my sister's love for her husband. It's no different. I don't think that the kids of our generation should ever have to worry about coming out if they're gay. I don't want another kid like me to grow up thinking that being gay isn't normal. I want the kids of my hometown to feel like they are part of this thing called love. I want them to feel supported by their government. I want them to have dreams of the same future as everyone else. It shocks and astounds me that Tony Abbott refuses to acknowledge the importance of marriage equality, a man who's leading and representing our amazing country. A huge majority of Australians support marriage equality, and yet Tony Abbott is a stick in the mud, blatantly ignoring the country he represents. Tony Abbott ought to see that by supporting marriage equality, he's supporting individuals who are going through tough times, coming to terms with themselves and seeing where they fit in society. We're falling further and further behind the rest of the world because of his stubborn ignorance. We're all here today, Tasmanians, Hobartians, to stand up for marriage equality for our state, for our country and for each other. Now, Dad desperately wanted to be here today. He actually called me in tears on Wednesday because he couldn't come, and he was devastated, but due to other commitments, so he's given me a little letter to read out on his behalf. I would like everyone to know how sorry I am that I can't be here today, but pre-booked work commitments have prevented me attending. Firstly, I must say that 12 months ago, I was walking on my own through the mall. I was abused in the most vile way by an elderly woman claiming to be a devout Catholic, having a gay son. I was so shocked. I was speechless, which is rare for me. But I want to thank that woman for allowing me to feel what it's like to be persecuted and abused for something that's totally out of my control. Everyone is born differently. Colour, creed or sexual preferences are out of our control. So why do we treat people differently? It's disgraceful in a country as great and free as Australia to think that two people who love each other cannot commit to each other in marriage because of how they were born. In my job, I'm lucky enough to reach every corner of our community, from the big tough bushmen to office workers, and have had nothing but words of support for equality. I'm personally asking every politician to answer this question for me. Why is my son not equal? If this legislation doesn't pass, Aussies should hang their heads in shame. Last but not least, to Rodney Croome, I've seen you persecuted and condemned for years, and your determination to get equality in our community is a magnificent example to all Australians of how to battle on through adversity to achieve something that's simply the right thing and I would be proud to call you my son. Matt, I love you with all my heart, and I'm the proudest dad on earth, and mate, no one will ever tell me you're not equal. Thank you.